So here we are at Proenza, and the hair is boyish, kind of very natural, which is a very Proenza kind of feeling. The satin wear's been put in just to rough dry the hair, using the shine just at the front around the hairline. I kind of was imagining a boy who combs his hair in a kind of, and you get those great comb lines in the hair. It kind of fixes the hair and gives this kind of like a toughness to these girls.
The trend, I think, this week has been flawless skin, and we're doing flawless skin at Proenza. Just evening out skin tone, making sure the girls look beautiful, brushing and filling in eyebrows where necessary. We're just applying a lid gloss on the eye, and basically that's it. Because the Proenza boys always like the girls looking quite boyish.
We want to explore the codes of classic American sportswear, like what are those codes to us. We never really reference clothes on collections. At this season we want to reference a genre of clothing, and wanted something that felt really sort of like local in a way. So we're like, yeah, classic American sportswear is something that we really respond to. So what's our version of a polo, and what's our argyle, and what's our plaid, and what's our Prince of Wales, and what's our parka. We're kind of playing off each other that all season. Like what is our version of all these sort of like, you know, iconic pieces.
That paper leather stuff it was a mix of solid and perforation, and they had a slight more sport kind of feeling, that section of the show. We wanted something that felt almost like a windbreaker or like a anorak, but obviously elevated and pushed. And so we developed this leather that's paper thin and quite crispy. They spray the back, and then they do like almost like a nylon finish on it. So it really gives like a nylon kind of feel, but it's all leather.
Proenza is arguably, or probably, the single most important reason you come across the Atlantic. It's the one kind of New York shows which really influences international trends. It had fantastic statement pieces. I thought that was, you know, the nicest coat I saw in New York.
They were experimenting with beautiful leathers and beautiful silks, but in a very futuristic way.
I'm wearing a pair of pants and a shirt and a jacket. It's one of my favorite shows to do, actually, because the clothes are just amazing every single time. You know, these guys, they're super talented. The clothes, they're always made perfectly. Even when you go to the fitting, they're so particular. It's so just perfectly executed. Oh, and the guys are super nice, so sweet, both of them, super fun.
There were a lot of fabrics we developed. We developed a ton of knitwear this season, from crochet, a very open crochet with metal knitted into it, to the more closed crochet with a kind of polo-y vibe with leather built into it.
Proenza
Proenza was a tour de force. You know, it's interesting, Jack and Laz love a contradiction. And it was certainly a contradiction in many ways. One, the idea of just basic American sportswear, but done up in super luxurious fabrications, and a color palette that felt somewhat fall, which they love to do, and then reintroduce it for the spring season. A lot of luxury on top of just a truly all-American sportswear collection. I was just thrilled when I saw that show. Love those boys and love what they did for spring.
I mean, it was incredible. It's the Proenza boys. I mean, they can do no wrong. At the fringe, love the fringe. It's awesome.
I thought it was awesome. I would wear all of those things. I want to think of things to go to so I can wear that stuff.
Oh, it was thrilling. I mean, basically these guys pushed the whole idea of American sportswear like forward by like several decades. And just the way it was, you know, it was, even though it was super new, it was pure pleasure to look at it. And I truly believe in 15 years the show will be historic. Yeah, this was a major show.
Those end dresses were kind of indicative of Argyle. And those were all different, like that dress I think was like 144 pattern pieces all crocheted together.
Crocheted seams, all those things. It looked like stripes or, you know, those are all seams. So we want to kind of use the functional element of the construction, seaming, and make it sort of decorative and to mimic that classic motif via construction. You know, craft is something that's really important to us and our brand. The idea of mixing technology and sort of things that are really sort of modern and of today with something sort of very old school and handmade. Like all that crocheted stuff that Jack was talking about, all that stuff was completely done by hand. And all those leathers were all like cut by lasers and whatnot, but then crocheted. So it's always this back and forth between like doing something in like a machine and then sending it to someone who does something to it by hand, and then sending it back to the machine. It's always that back and forth between us.